Alright, Kimbo White here. Get my TUF 14 finale predictions up since the fight start in like 45 minutes. You know how I roll. We'll start at the bottom. I think the first fight's one of the hardest fights to predict on the whole card. Caraway and Nice. I'm going to take Caraway in that fight. Basically due to the fact that I think that he's a little better rounded fighter, and I think his chin against Diego was very impressive. Not only that, he's fought 3 or 4 real tough guys in his career, whereas Nice has fought 1 or 2 tough guys. And I'm not saying that all the guys he fought have him tough. I shouldn't even say that like that. I should say 3 or 4 notable, bigger name guys. Caraway's lost to those guys, and so has Nice. But Caraway's fought a few more of them, and I am a firm believer in the fact that if you fought the better competition and you went longer than a half round with them, it makes you the better fighter 9 times out of 10, unless you're just stupid. But, or can't evolve athletically, have trouble, somewhat physically evolving athletically. But if you fought the better fighters, sometimes it's better to lose to the better fighters than to win to the better fighters, against the better fighters, because you take more learning in from losing a fight than learning it sometimes, or than winning it sometimes. I'm sorry. I'm in a hurry to get these out. I'm going to quit yamming. Brian Caraway over Dustin Nice. Steven Seiler over Josh Clopton. Ferguson over Delorme. Dustin Pegg over John Albert. Stephen Bass over Marcus Brimage. Man, I tell you what, I'm going to go with my boy Johnny Bedford in this fight over against Lewis. I don't even really know how to say Lewis's last name. Good to know, something like that. But I'm going to go with Johnny Bedford in that fight, and I hope he comes through for me. I like Johnny Bedford. It was funny to see that I can't remember who it was. I have to go back and look now. Dodson or Caraway, one of these guys have beat Bedford twice in their career before the TUF. Stuff like that you don't know about these guys when you watch TUF unless you do a little research. It's kind of interesting. This one's a tough pick. Veteran and Eve Edwards, tough as they come. Thug Jitsu master. What more can you ask? Except for the fact that I think Tony Ferguson's going to punch his face off. I'm going to go with Tony Ferguson, man. This dude's mean. And, Edwards is going to want to probably just go ahead and take this fight to the ground, because his hands probably aren't the level of Ferguson, which is crazy to say. Obviously, Edwards works with a lot of kicks and submission moves. He's a well-rounded fighter, but he has 2 submissions in his career, and he likes to knock people out. So, I know he's, probably wants to stand and bang with Ferguson, but if he's got to know that he's got the advantage if he gets Ferguson off his feet, just like anybody else that fights Ferguson. So, I'm going with Tony Ferguson by Eve Edwards, over Eve Edwards, and I think it's going to be a knockout, because I think they'll probably stand and bang in this one, but I don't think Edwards should. Man, these 3 next fights are extremely hard to pick. I mean, it's a who's who, just like any of these fights where these guys are so good at what they do. And these aren't really fights either where they're going to zero each other out at certain things. These are fights where obviously Dillashaw is going to try to implement the wrestling game like he does in every single fight, which is what he's good at. And Dotson's going to want to keep it standing, and that's where both these guys can win this fight. Diego Brandao, Bermudez, same thing. Bisping and Miller, both well-rounded fighters. So let's just get right down to it. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and take Dillashaw over Dodson, and it's honestly for one reason, because since the TUF's been over, Dillashaw has been rolling with Uriah Faber on a daily basis. You see him tweeting it, and you see him talking about it in the interviews. So really, if your IFA can't prepare Dillashaw for Dodson, then world, you better watch out for Dodson. And he's a bad dude, so we'll see what happens. I'm going with Dillashaw over Dodson by WrestleFuck. I don't know if he can finish him. Probably a decision in that. Oh man! I tell you what, I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and take Bermudez over Brandao, and I'm gonna do that because I think Brandau's gonna have to come in here with a big head. He's just gonna whoop up on Bermudez, and Bermudez is a tough character. He submitted Kira, who hits as hard as Brandao, and I'm really not sure how much. I don't remember that Bermudez Kira fight except for the tap out, the choke. So, but I don't know. I just think that Bermudez is going to be ready for him. And I think he's going to be ready for him, and I think he's going to get him off his feet, get him against the fence, rough him up, beat him up, win the fight. And I don't know. I don't know if it'll go the distance or not. I'm just going to wait and see. Probably Bermudez, probably like a second round TKO. What do you think about that? Let's see what happens. And in the main event, I'm going to take Jason Miller over Michael Bisping, and that's all I'm got to say about that. So, not going to elaborate on that really. Obviously, this fight could go either way. Obviously, this, I'm just not even going to get into the whole thing because I need to hurry up and get this up. Half hour till the fights. That's my picks. Been the last word with Kimbo White.